Welcome back to Toffee Booze, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing the Start 11 show for our Boxing Day trip to the Etihad to face Manchester City. So let's get straight into it. I think Dyche will make three changes for this one. One enforced change and two tactical changes, but we'll get straight into it and start in goal, and it's going to be Jordan Pickford once again. I think this is probably the easiest one to call in the team. Another top-class performance against Chelsea, in my opinion, at Goodison. Obviously, there was a few murmurs after the game about him potentially, people wanting to see him receive a red card and a penalty for Chelsea for that challenge against Malo Gusto. But once again, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I think the conditions didn't really help him. Obviously the wind was swirling round, so a few of his kicks were a little bit more wayward than what they usually were. But that being said, that his shot stopping is just second to none, isn't it? So we're going to need him on form again, once again against Manchester City. Obviously they're on a horrendous run of form, Manchester City, but I don't doubt that they'll come at us and have a lot of shots on goal. So we're going to need Jordan Pickford at the top of this game once again. But moving into defence, I think Vitaly Mykolenko is going to keep his place at left back. He's starting to put a little bit of a run together, Vitaly Mykolenko. Obviously a few clean sheets in a row. He's gaining a little bit of confidence. I noticed a couple of times against Chelsea that he seemed to get forward and he tried to put a couple of crosses in. Obviously, we know that Mykolenko, he isn't an attacking fullback. We know that that's not the kind of player he is. We know he's a good defensive fullback at times, and he can stop world class wingers. He's shown in the past that he can do that. So fingers crossed now he's putting a little bit of a run together. Obviously, a good performance against Arsenal, and then building on that with Chelsea. Fingers crossed he can gain a little bit of confidence and start to put those performances, more frequently in. But yeah, I thought he was decent against Chelsea, so he's going to keep his place at left back. And then moving to two centre halves, it's going to be Branthwaite and Tarkowski once again. They're going to keep that partnership going. They're a top pairing, aren't they? I thought they were fantastic once again against Chelsea. Obviously, we're going to need them on form to keep out Manchester City. They do have a lot of top quality attacking players, but that being said, I think again against Chelsea they were top class. So fingers crossed they can keep that going. And then moving to right back, this is the one where I'm going to talk about the enforced change. Obviously, with Ashley Young being suspended following his booking against Chelsea, he's going to miss this game. So I do think it's going to be Seamus Coleman coming into the team. Obviously, he's back from injury now. Made his first appearance in quite a long while this weekend against Chelsea, coming on late on for Ashley Young. So. And he just doesn't fancy Nathan Patton, does he, Sean Dyche? So do think it's going to be Seamus Coleman coming in for this one, and the only enforced change that I'm going to talk about in this video. But yeah, Coleman, obviously, we know what Coleman is. He's been with us for so long. He's always going to give 110%. Whether he's got the legs anymore, that remains a different question. But we know he's going to give 110% effort. I do think Dyche will look to use him maybe for 60, 70 minutes, and then maybe look to switch tactics or switch formation or something like that. But I do think Coleman will start for us against Manchester City on Boxing Day. That moves us quite nicely into midfield. And I'm going to talk about this partnership once again. I seem to be waxing lyrical about this partnership, but it's going to be Oro Mangala and Idrissa Gana Gueye as the two players in midfield. I think Oro Mangala is a top player, in my opinion. I'm really enjoying watching him in an Everton shirt. He seems to be going from strength to strength, and I think he played really well against Chelsea once again, as did Idrissa Gana Gueye. I think they both played really well together. They do, as I keep saying, they do seem to be forming that really good partnership in midfield. So fingers crossed they can keep that going. But yeah, that's going to be my partnership in midfield. And then moving a little bit further forward, I do think Abdoulaye Doucouré is going to keep his place in there. I think that's purely just for structure reasons. I actually did think he looked marginally better against Chelsea. He looked a bit sharper. He looked a bit more progressive with the ball. He was carrying it forward a little bit more. And, sometimes with Abdoulaye Doucouré, we know what he's like on the ball. He can, play passes which are massively wayward. So fingers crossed he can maybe utilize the Chelsea performance, for example, and maybe as I said, with likes of Vitaly Mykolenko, players like that, put a little bit of a run together, maybe get a little bit of consistency in the team. But I do think Dyche is going to opt for Abdoulaye Doucouré purely for that, that energy, playing as that second striker, really setting the press, being energetic, and just being all around the pitch. I think obviously Sean Dyche does trust Abdoulaye Doucouré to do that role. So yeah, I think that's going to complete my midfield. And then moving into the front three, I think Iliman Ndiaye is going to keep his place on the left-hand side. He's so good going forward, isn't he? That no-look pass where he nutmegged one of the Chelsea fullbacks and got Abdoulaye Doucouré in behind. I think, that's just the nature of the man, isn't it? He's just absolutely quality on the ball. He was so unlucky not to score, wasn't he, at the end? Obviously, that chance that fell to him is a great block by Adarabioyo, the Chelsea centre-half. And you feel that against Manchester City, that's where our goal is going to come from. A little bit of magic from Iliman Ndiaye. Obviously, it's going to be a tough game. We know going forward, we're probably not going to get a lot of chances in front of goals. So a little bit of wizardry, a little bit of magic from Ndiaye. Maybe we can unlock the Manchester City defence and try and get a goal from that. But I do think he's going to keep his place on the left-hand side. Then moving to the right hand side, I'm going to talk about the first of my tactical changes. I think Jesper Lindstrom's going to come into the team. Obviously, Jack Harrison started against Chelsea. I thought he was quite poor in my opinion. Obviously, that big chance at the back post which fell to him, which would have put us 1-0 up in the game. He didn't take it. So I think, you kind of just have to give Lindstrom a chance. Jack Harrison isn't really pulling his weight in that team. He's not really as, attacking, as direct as, say, Jesper Lindstrom, for example. I think they're both lacking in confidence, but I do think Jesper Lindstrom does have that little bit more raw ability, a bit more of that quality. And I did think he looked better than Harrison when he came on against Chelsea. So I do think Dyche will look to use Jesper Lindstrom and play him off the right hand side in this game. Then moving into the number 9 spot, this is where I'm going to talk about my second tactical change. This might come as a surprise to some people, but I do think Armando Broja will come into the team for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. In my opinion, against Chelsea, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin looked a bit off it. He looked, a little bit lethargic. He wasn't really putting in maximum effort. Obviously, I understand that it is very difficult to play number 9 in a Sean Dyche team. You're getting the ball pumped up to you. You're expected to try and, hold the ball up and fight for scraps, and chances are very few and far between. But in a system like that, you have to be energetic and you have to show the effort to try and get into the game, and I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin did that in my opinion. So if you're looking at the game before Chelsea, you're looking at the Arsenal game, I thought Armando Broja came on well for that last 20 minutes, so I think it's time to give him a chance. I do think Dyche will give him a chance in this game. Obviously, it's a little bit of a baptism of fire getting your first start in an Everton shirt at Manchester City away at the Etihad. Obviously, it's a very tough place to go, but fingers crossed, if Dyche does give Armando Broja the nod, he can have a good performance and maybe bring Calvert-Lewin on a little bit later in the game to maybe change the dynamic and give Manchester City something else to think about. But I do think Broja's energy and his, sort of his direct running, I think that will be necessary from the start, and I think Dyche will look to use that. But that completes the starting 11. I'll just run through it one more time. So it's Jordan Pickford in goal, Vitaly Mykolenko, Jared Branthwaite, James Tarkowski, and Seamus Coleman as your back four. Orhan Mangala, Idrissa Gana Gueye, and Abdoulaye Doucouré as your midfield three. Iliman Ndiaye, Jesper Lindstrom, and Armando Broja complete in the front three. But that is it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you think Dyche is going to go with something else, if you think, we're going to go for a change of system or anything like that, let me know your thoughts. And Merry Christmas from everyone here at the Toffee Blues, and me included. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.